Good morning everybody. I am Guru Yogi Mohan. In this teaching program, I am discussing 499 scientific mythological topics through 14 major theories and 49 technologies. All those theories are described and experimented in the mythology of Indian tradition. The ancient Indian tradition is based on culture and fellowship is called Hindu mythology or Hindu culture. Hinduism is not a religion but it is ancient cultural knowledge. We have to understand, no common ground has been available with any cause for the forerunners to associate and gathering. Religion has been the high-tech schooling system based on collective information from the forefathers. The oldest civilization, Hinduism, is describing science and technologies to society in a large. I am working and experimenting with all those know-how is proven that most of our social problems can be solved by adopting the great ancient knowledge. We are using 5G data to our smartphone to receive communications in visual form now. It has happened only a few decades. It has not been possible to think about the media of communication using data transmission and devices like Android application. A mind is a powerful tool that we need to learn it perfectly to understand how we can use it. By knowing the step-by-step procedure, such things giving the insight to think about such kind of knowledge. I have a mission, when I am designing this course, is for interested students and professionals who want to involve in solving major human problems. Most of the human problems we are discussing here are health problems. There are more than thousands of rare diseases and nearly 100 disabilities. Our ancient learned masters used a kind of extrasensory perception to get more knowledgeable in times using their penance and special abilities. I want to introduce and discuss all of you regarding this ancient knowledge and practice. You will be happiest if you can save the world without difficulties by using information and knowledge. I will describe the situations and corresponding text used in it. But the major percentage of knowledge is from voice to hear. I am presenting the voice information also to you to understand it perfectly with meaning. All ancient knowledge is connected with culture and civilizations. The modern attitude and approaches are evidence-based discussions only. Here, in this topic, I am uncovering with practical evidence. Evidence is in two forms. The first one is physical evidence and the second one is technical evidence. Technical evidence is action-based proof for every concept and its definitions. 49 terminologies and 14 theories are described with this teaching program. The hypothesis in this topic is described as the theories and corresponding terminologies described in Hindu mythologies are capable to normalize human disabilities and rare disease. So all the participants of this program should be more alerted and need to follow perfectly in theory and practice to get an accurate result. I want to introduce to you what we are going to learn through this teaching program named DET. We learned many things. As of day, we have much knowledge for each of everyone. All we are learned and experienced in many knowledge through the years in the past. Nowadays information is available at the fingertip through search engines and internet platforms. I have no doubt all of you believe in search engines in different names on the internet as the information providers. Now students, professionals, and educated peoples depending to get instant tips and reference from a search list of the internet. A few years ago, when I am writing a new book, I want a detailed definition of the word consciousness. It is a widely used word with and without meaning in every community, especially spiritual and philosophical terms and use. Google search result shows billions of result in a few seconds. I spend a lot of time to read one after another in the Google search list. But it disappointed me. I did not see an apt answer for that word consciousness. I read many articles relate to consciousness. But all those answers are incomplete or not meaningful. I did not see a definition of consciousness. I have witnessed thousands of children attaining consciousness in front of me. For more than 2 decades I am managing with disabled peoples from various age group and they will be conscious in a few hours. Consciousness is a state of mind that happening in a particular moment, is a process of reorganization through the sensing organs and which will be an experience of visuals, sounds, smells and touches. It is a true multimedia experience in the living body. The other way they are truly feeling the very first experience in their life as new. There are hundreds of thousands of feelings in human life based on the very first experience. Every new experience is consciousness in a different aspect. And there is no similarity in a new experience with an old one, which is causes for new conciseness. So, what I am trying to explain with this is there are hundreds of thousands of consciousness in the human lifespan. So defining consciousness is difficult as per the modern logics. In ancient days there has been a lot of epic stories to describe the situations of excitement and consciousness. We are at the all-time top of every information and knowledge. But I should say we are in the half past only. We are not living in a world with complete knowledge. The modern society started to understand the knowledge in a wide measure is only in the quarter past of the 14th century. During the year 1440 AD, the great innovation of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg has been made available to book in printing form. After this innovation, the availability of books has been increased not only by number but also in wide areas. Up to that, books and knowledge have been in the form of manuscript or palm leaves. In the case of the manuscript, it has been limited by the copy and not available widely. So, the major form of information is traditional and orally communicated to the subsequent generations by the masters. The print and publishing in modern form have been in the topics for the interest and demand on society and purpose. When we are trying to study the history of a particular topic, we can see the chronological algorithm of the development of those topics. Nowadays, the ancient methodology, technology, approaches, and masters' innovations are unaware of modern society. Upon the innovation of a new formula or a technology, that did not suspend the former. But if the new one is felt good than the former, it will replace with former naturally. Culture and developments have been a social cause with the ancient past. Now we have a cause to search, research, format, identify, organize with the terms of scientific parameters. The scientific parameters itself a new definition. But it doesn't mean every old and ancient thing is unscientific. When we are analyzing, the definitions of ancient knowledge are more scientific than the modern day's innovations. But if one needs to understand the evidence of it, they should travel with it since from the beginning to end with it. Upon understanding the chronology and technical approaches, they can define it in their way. This educational program is a technical and practical knowledge about human health and mind-related problems. That is why the technology of this program named Disability Elimination Technology. I have many thoughts about the naming of this course. What I have to name it? I was confused for a few years to finding out a name for this technology and its approaches. I have many masters that teach me about many technologies based on mythology and practical application. Most of them are from the ancient experience for them. The list of that is unlimited. Mainly how one gets a capacity for their body and mind to perform themselves. In modern language, it is the know-how for getting an extrasensory perception or ESP. ESP is a modern definition. It generally called spiritual awakening or getting consciousness in a particular mental plane. It is an extrasensory perception in the mind and body. One can achieve it by following step-by-step practicing as per the guidelines of the masters. It needs a master who can guide a learner in this perspective. In all the time, people started to tell all the human-made wonders are magic or tricks. When one is unaware of the process behind every presentation of a learned master, people believe all those are godlike power or magical tricks. Believing or not believing is the liberty of the beholder who looks at the topic. But we should know about ourselves. The human body is a wonderful mechanism that can create and regulate wonders. All are through a different kind of extrasensory perception, ESP. ESP can be practiced and achieved using the guidelines about it. Practicing ESP is a process of follow up the concept and the terminology of the described pattern explained in ancient Vedic sciences. Developing to the plane of ESP is through the thought process. The thought in Hindu mythology or Vedic science is guided by the definitions and requirements. The thought is an ancient process of adoption for the body and mind. By practicing it as per the guidelines, one can be achieved the capacity to produce ESP action from his body. After that, he can transfer this to another being through the air. It is a special knowledge that activating the particles of the body. Every being is emitting a corresponding smell with the topic. Ancient masters adopted and learned it by identifying the smell-based behaviors of every animal and human. Other animals simply sense the pheromone smell from another living organism. This pheromone smells act differently. The pheromones are the microparticles discharging from the body and that have actions by its emissions around them correspondingly. And sometimes that will be acted adversely for many reasons. By practicing ESP through the thought process, a body starts to emit microparticles that help to construct or create a different kind of movable particles. It is well defined in Vedas as knowledge. All these emissions are in microform and can be detected molecules. A damaged body can be a receiver for this kind of molecules through the conductivity of air, and a receiver start to develop format with their body when and where required. Every human body format also has algorithms and chronology, how and what is required. This fundamental knowledge is caused to practice religious fellowship and practice. The formist religion Hinduism is stated to develop it through the Vedic practice and literature associated with scripts and teachings. There are thousands of scripts and non-script information for teaching these topics. In this teaching program, I am explaining 14 practical theories and 49 technical know-how to practice every student who wants to learn this methodology. It has been adopted almost all religions in the past for the welfare of the members of the social group. By acquiring the ESP, one can be a special person who will have the capacity to do anything around him. He can discharge organized particles in the form of pheromones from his body, and that will act as biomass for the receiver. Another methodology we have to learn to organize hydrogens and carbon dioxide in the human body by following a different procedure in Vedic rituals. It is a terminology to produce and damaged part of any hware in the body. It will help to gain aesthetic balance, correction of muscles, bones, brain cells, and any kind of disabilities. It also solves all kinds of human conditions and rare diseases. The procedure is organizing the HCO level inside the brain. During 1967, NASA has a study and innovation as part of their study of life support systems for space missions is directed as was for the microorganisms to convert the carbon dioxide exhaled by astronauts into food. Carbon dioxide and hydrogen, hydrogenotrophic, which use carbon dioxide as a nutrient to be converted into food. The process involves the biological and chemical synthesis of waste gases to cell material which could be used as a more complete food. It is a future technology now for food in space and population crisis. The evidence shows this theory has been innovated from 4000 to 3000 BC in Hindu mythology. Developing biomass from the air is a practical formula is applied in the ancient system. We are discussing the practical application of this formula for the biological development of human beings from disease and disability. It is replaceable with the damaged area of the body, and through that one will be free from the rare disease. In the Vedic terms, there is a difference in knowing and understanding modern biology. Fist upon the human body has two stages. One is the life in water is called prepartum. It is the life in the mother's womb. Here the fetus is developing in water only. Upon completion of the prepartum period, a process of pulling out to postpartum is happening is defined as birth. As per the Vedic definitions, prepartum is happening as the development from tail to head, and development in postpartum is happening head to the tail. I have to tell all of you is that we can forget the religion and caste system. We can understand why all those mythological aspects have implemented in society. The human body and mind are unique properties that have their methodology for accepting and rejecting. Any fundamental damages that we can change, repair and recondition by using appropriate terminology and application. I was trying for 25 years to make it a technical program connecting with modern medical science. Finally, I understood there is no uniqueness in the problems of a being, and that is different from one to another. There are many kinds of alchemy, and medical science has been available in the ancient period, but the analytical way is different than the modern definition. Human inference has been the scale and parameter as per the dimensions of the master's way. The proven history and evidence show since 3700 BCE. The only difference is that all those chemicals used in alchemy are from natural sources. But all those have been powerful than the modern artificial chemicals. In this program, we are referring to the alchemy process in natural properties. It is an understanding of every property are belonging from substance, and the attributes of the substance are the key factors in those properties. Upon understanding, we can change the substance and its attributes used in the alchemy of the ancient ages. This I included in these teachings for academic interest and knowledge sharing. All the ancient studies and knowledge are advised by masters for do-it-yourself, DIY, project. Because all the fundamental problems can be solved by self only. For that, they need knowledge of factors and sources accurately. I need you to learn, understand, practice and experience the secret of nature, creation, and recreation. By doing so, we can eradicate all human disabilities, rare diseases, aesthetical disorders, problems of mind, etc. It is not a medical course or application, instead it is a knowledge base that medical doctors can be usable for the added knowledge for considering the conditions. I am happy to tell you that many experiments and live projects are available for every active student as part of this teaching program. I hope within a few years we can eradicate human disabilities too. We can do ourselves share this knowledge for the subsequent generations for this knowledge and information. Furthermore, our scientific community will do more research work, and of course, I am sure these ancient formulas will become helpful for the correction of our technical expeditions. I have specific answers to your questions related to the topic mentions with this. Have a wonderful day with good new thoughts. Let us eradicate all conditions. Go to the chapters and sections for further learning. For joining the learning course, visit the website www.heritagecampus.org. Thank you. Guru Yogi Mohan. Signing out.